What's up, guys? I'm Chuck McCarthy, Director of Client Services at Exponent 21. Now, these days, we've been getting tons and tons of people coming to us asking, how do I optimize my website for AI? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. You don't need me to sit here and tell you the internet's a wild place. You've probably known that's a fact since, the first time you saw that lady go face first out of her grape squishing basket. And while bathing in a little harmless schadenfreude will always be one of the greatest pleasures on the internet, in reality, most people are going for more productive reasons. Simply put, to get their questions answered. This has more or less been the case for the entire age of the internet, but nowadays, the way that answers are uncovered couldn't be more different. The landscape has completely shifted. No longer are people sifting through a bunch of search results pages. Hell, they're not even sifting through a search result. It's ask, get answer, simple as. Whether it's AI overviews, ChatGPT, or Perplexity, answers are being sourced and regurgitated right back to the searcher without them ever having to click anything. Now, in an industry that's built on the bolder shoulders of click-through rate, sounds a little scary. To be fair, totally is. But that's where we come in. So what is AI SEO and why does it matter? AI SEO, AEO, answer engine optimization, you'll hear any number of those. They all mean the same thing. It's a strategy in which the objective is to have large language models, the ChatGPTs of the world, know who you are and why you matter. You need to position yourself as an expert to build trust while at the same time offering something that's unique to your brand. Whether it's an alternative perspective, data from a proprietary study, or just presenting information in a thoughtful, interesting, and super digestible way, there's really no recipe for a secret sauce that's going to give the content the kick that it needs. But at the end of the day, it's not about choosing the perfect tactic. It's about choosing a tactic. As long as you're intentionally adding that extra layer of value, your content should rise above the rest. So, AI sources and summarizes information based on a number of different factors: patterns in human questions, high quality structured information, topical authority, reputational signals, answer structure and clarity, and the big one, contextual understanding. Now, I know a lot of those are pretty buzzwordy, but simply put, just be the most helpful resource to people that you can possibly be. And that shift in mindset is important because the rules of the game have completely changed. Unlike the old crawler bots where you could get away with stuffing a bunch of keywords on a page that pretty much meant nothing, now AI has complete contextual understanding of the page. This is why content depth, clarity, and genuine utility matter now more than ever. How do I optimize my website for AI search? It's the question that more than likely brought you to this video. It's also the question that is the answer. I'll explain. That simple question is the perfect example of what we call MVQs, or most valuable questions, and it completely changed the trajectory of our agency. Once we became the authority on that answer, everything changed. Visibility around that one question skyrocketed our business. So, to give you a clear, concise definition of MVQs, it's the question that if you were to be seen as the clear, concise answer, it would fundamentally change your business. It's the question with the highest upside, the one that matters most to your audience, and creates the biggest opportunity for your brand if you own it. In traditional SEO, you could get away with one singular page doing most of the heavy lifting. I'm not saying pillar content doesn't matter. It absolutely still does. But a single page on its own isn't enough anymore. Today, the content needs to live in a content ecosystem. AI isn't evaluating your pages in isolation. It's looking at an entire body of work around a topic, seeing how well it connects, how consistent it is, seeing if you have a real depth of expertise. They look for a clearly defined pillar topic, supporting subtopics that expand and go deeper on the subject, content that's refreshed regularly, strong internal linking that shows intentional structure, consistency in definitions, phrasings, and recommendations, multimedia proof points like tables, case studies, or videos, and high-value FAQ structures that directly answer the real questions people ask. So the easiest way to map all of this out is to think about content in clusters as opposed to an individual piece of content in a vacuum. The point is to demonstrate how deeply you understand the topic. The more complete and comprehensive your content becomes, the more confident AI is going to be to cite you as the source for its answer. An example of a cluster for, let's say, a pillar for AI SEO could have supporting content such as MVQs, EEAT, technical SEO, content freshness, search behavior changes, AIO visibility, schema optimization, competitor comparison, future trends, use cases, case studies, things like that. Now, none of what I just told you really matters if the technical foundations of your website suck. You could have some of the best content in the world, but it might be invisible to AI if you don't have the right technical scaffolding in place. Your site needs to be fast, structured, accessible, crawlable, and schema-rich. Key technical factors include structured data or schema. This helps AI systems understand things like authors, products, FAQs, reviews, organizations, or services. So the more clearly you structure your data, the easier it is for AI to associate your brand with key concepts. Crawlability and site architecture, which means that a clean hierarchy of pages with proper internal linking drastically improves topic understanding. Freshness signals. AI systems prioritize recent, continually maintained content. So updates, new sections, revised examples really send it the signal it's looking for that, hey, this information is current. Social content and directory listings all shape the knowledge graph that AI uses to evaluate trust. Search behavior is in a state of flux, and honestly, it has been for a little while now. We're at the point now where roughly 70% of searches are terminating in no clicks. Because things are changing so quickly, instead of obsessing about search behavior and how it exists in the exact moment, I think it's more important to understand the relationship between users and AI. Because once you understand that dynamic, the strategy becomes a whole lot easier to grasp. So we've got people who are asking full questions instead of typing keywords, expecting answers immediately, bypassing websites entirely, treating AI assistants like advisors, using AI for comparisons, shortlists, recommendations, and looking for trust, not just information. As AI behavior continues to evolve, it increasingly prioritizes neutral, authoritative, and well-structured content. It favors brands with strong topic ecosystems. It avoids shallow or overly promotional content and rewards content that feels genuinely helpful, confident, and consistent. In other words, instead of presenting you with a list of resources in order for you to find the solution, it's effectively going to just drop whatever you need right in your lap. No hunting, no clicking, no detective work. So, if your brand can create content that plays into that relationship, content that's easy for ChatGPT and the rest of the crew to find, understand, and feel confident citing, while also scratching the exact itch that the user has in that moment, that's it. That's the whole game, broadly speaking. Okay, so cool. You start showing up in AI summaries. But what does that mean for your business? Well, for one, it means a higher volume of leads. But not just a higher volume, those leads are going to be much warmer because you've already been answering all their questions. By the time they reach you, you're not a stranger. You're the trusted voice that's been guiding them the whole way. And ultimately, that dramatically increases trust, which in turn removes a lot of the friction that may have existed when it comes to choosing your brand. This all sort of boils down to one focused objective of higher brand familiarity, which is the key to all of this. And yeah, I know it sounds obvious, but the way that search behavior is trending, it's about to become even more imperative for digital success. Some studies even show that over 80% of people click on a brand that they recognize over a brand that just happens to be the first result they come to. Pretty crazy. So looking ahead, things are only going to get even more interesting. We're moving towards a world where AI summaries are going to become fully personalized. Not just, here's the answer, it's here's your answer, based on your past searches, your preferences, your history, the whole deal. And with persistent memory becoming a standard feature in AI tools, these assistants are essentially becoming long-term advisors who actually remember you. On top of that, AI agents are actually starting to act on behalf of consumers, researching, booking hotels, booking a table, without the user actually having to do anything. Layer in the rise of voice-driven search and multimodal answers, where AI blends text, visuals, charts, screenshots, and even video. And you can see where this is heading really fast. And speaking of video, it's about to become absolutely critical, which I'd argue it probably already is. AI models are already consuming video as training data, which means your face, your tone, your ability to communicate clearly, all of that gets factored in and builds trust. Video is one of the strongest indicators of authenticity and expertise. So brands that are consistently creating video content are going to build authority significantly faster than the brands that are still just publishing nothing but blog posts. Because here's the big shift. Brands that will win are going to be the ones that stop thinking of their content as just marketing assets and start thinking of it as training data for AI. Everything you publish helps AI figure out who to trust and who's worth recommending. If it's not learning from you, it's learning from somebody else. Start structuring your content around the questions people are actually asking, especially the ones you want your brand to be known for. So build real content depth, not just one-off posts. Make sure your technical foundations aren't held together with duct tape, and focus on creating content that is helpful, confident, and genuinely worth citing. Because at this point, you're not optimizing for just Google anymore. You're optimizing for every single AI your customer comes in contact with. Well, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you want more information, check out the description below. Otherwise, peace.